Gotham is mine, Batman. Gotham is mine, yes. Yeah. Gotham is officially Sensei-Savagery's. Can you believe I haven't done a sit-up in probably like... Fuck, when did I do last sit-up? I haven't done a sit-up in... Has it been a year? Okay, so like the title of this video suggests, I am so stupid. You are so hilariously intelligent. Please help me be smarter. So I have trying to understand two things right now in my mind. I'm trying to understand women, and I'm trying to understand America. Yes? Is there a cat dying outside? Hold on. So those two things. I'm trying to understand women, and I'm trying to understand America. Now, the reason I'm trying to understand America, I'm trying to understand where the pride in being American comes from. It's the way I was taught. And the French and Spanish got here first. Spanish, French. So Spanish first, then French. And America isn't, like, I hate when people say they're Americans. It's like, no, you're a... So to go back to what I was saying, the French and Spanish, Spanish and French got here first. Now, when they came over here, it was like royal conquest. Like, they came over here, the whole country knew they were, or at least the royalty of the country, the countries, from Spanish, Columbus being Spaniard, and the French, they were royal conquest, like the best of the best, came over here and, began, trading and did conquests, very religious. The Spaniards came over with, religion and teaching about Mary and all that. The Americans, or I should say the British that came over, seemed to be, how do I want to say? The British that came over and became Americans seem to be the group of rejects. Like, if you look at Benjamin Franklin, one of the ugliest dudes you've ever seen in your life. So basically, as far as I can tell, the Americans that came over were like the group of rejects that weren't getting no pootie tang in Britain or England, whatever. English, Britain, English. I keep saying British. English. And I'm pretty sure they were basically just thieves of the night. They, like, in the way I was taught in American schools, or we'll just say English reject schools, was that they wanted religious freedom. And I think what that means is they wanted freedom from religion. Like, they wanted to be evil. Which makes sense. Like, they seem more like their conquest was like thieves in the night. Like, apparently they wanted to sleep with some Indian women, and they wanted some Indian spices. Is how they were taught, how I was taught in the English reject school. That is America, that we quote unquote call America. So what I'm getting at is, I think they were more like thieves in the night. Whereas, maybe England was at a time where, and like I said, this is why I'm asking these questions. I'm trying to understand America. So if you could educate me, I'd appreciate it. It seems like they were more thieves in the night. Like they took some boats, stole some slaves, they were into slavery. Now people give them a hard time. There were slaves all over the world at the time, but they didn't call them slaves. They called them servants. It was like servants. And it was, there were servants all the way back in the time to Jesus, and they even called them, I guess, slaves back then. But it was more of like a servant, similar to like the days of the knights when there was squires and such things. It wasn't considered dishonorable. It was like, to be a squire to a knight meant that you would be trained to basically be a knight. You just took orders from the actual knight, that sort of thing. So it's like, to be a servant in a royal setting was a good thing. You were learning to be very civilized and basically be royal yourself. So I think the Americans that came over were seeking, and it was a very, England back then was a very godly nation. They literally, what was it? They were so religious that they thought Earth was the center of the universe, that didn't they kill Galileo because he said actually the sun's the center of the universe? Like, they were so super religious, like, bah. Same with the Spanish and French that came over. They were like doing bad, and like, if we find a society that's like barbaric, like, we're gonna fucking wrath of God those motherfuckers. Like, what? I think the English rejects, aka the Americans, the first colonizers, when they say they wanted religious freedom, they wanted to not be religious. They wanted to create an environment of evil and not be persecuted for being evil. Stay with me now and educate me if you can. So that's me trying to understand America. So this is so deep. Hold on, give me a second. So the English rejects, aka the Americans, wanted freedom from religion, but they were so inventive that all they did was take the evil parts of the Bible and like amplify them. Like, how am I trying to say? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, fast forward to today, they created a third world country without it being called a third world country. So if you think about a third world country, you imagine, people having to walk to the river and collect their own water. But it's like, okay, so that's their payment for water, is walking to it, collecting the water, maybe running it through a rudimentary purification system, which is just, if you've ever watched Bear Grylls, some sand, some dirt, some grass, run it through that, then boil it, ta-da, you got basically purified water. So that's their payment, is like going through the process of collecting water. Here, we have to pay for water. So that's like a third world. We are a third world country. So we have to go out, do walking, like walk. We have to go work. We have to walk while we're at work, most people. We have to leave our homes to make the money to pay for water. Just like a third world country. Yes? Yes. They created a society where, so when they, the third world country, they build their homes, they build them by hand, whether it's out of dirt and mud and straw and whatever. Here, we have to pay for our homes, right? And what does that entail? That entails us doing a lot more work than it would take just building the home. I mean, what are they? A group of like 5 or 6, individuals can build a home here in the United States for very cheap in probably what a month or two, if that. So if you think about if you got to build your own home, it might take you a couple, 3, 4 months. Instead, you spend 30 plus years. So it's worse than a third world country. Like over there, the villages might get together, build their homes, and it takes them, a month or two. Instead, here you spend endless amount of hours, 30 plus years, trying to pay off a home that took a couple months to build. Okay, then going to trying to why I think that like I said, the English rejects, aka what is America, is they were so unimaginative, oh goodness, how do I want to say? Like we have, for instance, Donald Trump now. From what I'm hearing, I don't know if this is true or not. And if it's true, if it's true that Donald Trump is saying this is a holy war and the generals of the military are saying that he's ordained by God to bring about Armageddon, that goes to me showing, or that shows me, makes me think that when they said that the founders of this nation wanted freedom of religion, they wanted freedom from religion. They didn't want to have to be religious. They just wanted to be soulless. What's a better way to say? Just take what they wanted. And how did he say on what was the pirate creed? Barboza said, "Take what you want, give nothing back." When him and Jack were talking, or whoever that was that said that. Yeah. So the English rejects, aka Americans, stole their slaves in the night and their guns in the night and came over here and started doing what they were doing. They were hoping to get to India, supposedly. No, I stand corrected. That was Columbus. That was Columbus that thought he was finding a faster trade route to India. But regardless, so then word got around the European territories from the French and the Spanish. Hey, there's like a bunch of land out here that's we can do a lot with, and there's people over here that are not as advanced as we are, but still advanced. I mean, Native Americans had very advanced societies, but not as advanced as Europe was at the time, with guns and masonry work and that sort of thing. So going back to if that is true, if Trump's saying that he's like a holy warrior and the generals of the military are saying that he's like blessed by God to bring about Armageddon. Yo, y'all fell for the ramblings of madmen. I'm trying to think like how y'all listened to an insane individuals. Who was it? It was one of the disciples, Mark or Matthew, Luke, or John, that wrote, I can't remember which one, but he wrote the book of Revelation while exiled on an island. He was literally going insane, wishing that oh my God, to me, that's the fact that, who was it? Constantine, one of the Roman emperors that picked to the Bible, or the books that stayed in the Bible. Dude, he did such a cherry on top, putting the writings of whoever was stuck on that island, whichever one of the disciples was exiled to that island. He did such a cherry on top of fuck you. Because he literally he put those writings of Revelation in there as like a haha gotcha. Like I literally, Jesus, I made one of your disciples go fucking insane and wish destruction on the entire world. You're supposed to be this loving, all beautiful like group of people, and yet one of your closest and very own lost his fucking mind on an island, wrote about it, and wished basically death upon the whole world and begged for his. I mean, like, it's the if you look at Revelation as anything other than writings of a person going insane because he stuck by himself and everything was taken from him because they were trying to overthrow a very powerful government that was the Roman Empire at that time, you are one of the dumbest individuals that has ever existed. Like, I'm like trying to think about a caveman, but like a caveman, he knew like fire, gather up together, we have to fight off the lions and tigers and bears. Like, I think even he would have like, if you could interpret in caveman things that was in the book of Revelations, he'd be like, like, motherfucker, that's some stupid, insane shit that dude's writing about. So that's something that I get. I can't help but think it's hilarious that if that's really going on, if our current today, religious people, and then they say that they're waiting for Jesus to come back a second time. It's like I say, y'all can't even fucking count. He was here one time. He died. He came back. So he already came back a second time. If he were to come back, it would be technically a third time. Y'all can't even count. And that's the society that we're in. The English rejects, aka the American, aka America. Oh my God. Now, so again, I'm trying to understand America. Now don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good lessons in the Bible. Like, it was very, I don't know. It was so funny to me. It's really entertaining to think about when they were picking the books of the Bible. Is like they gave you everything. They gave you the good, the bad, and the ugly. But people are like want to be convinced that everything is like I said. Them saying that Trump is bringing about revelation literally means that they're listening to a madman. They basically listen to like a guy who turned into a schizophrenic and was like, I want the world to burn. And they're like, yeah. And people today, 2,000 years later, are unable to discern that whoever wrote Revelation was on an island, exiled by himself. I'm just repeating myself at this point. But literally going insane, wishing death upon the whole world. That was what he was. That's what it was. It was some dude. It'd be like, it's like, I don't know, when you ground some like kid today and you take all their video games and cell phones and they're like, I want my parents to die. I hope that fucking, I hope I die. It's like, that's what he was doing on that island. Like, I want the people in charge to die and I want to die and blah, 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 blah. Okay, carrying on further. Supposedly America answers to Israel. Now, Israel is a bunch of Jews, yes? So I like to say, what do you mix? What do you get when you mix a nice Nazi, a Jewish lawyer, and a trigger-happy American? You get because going back to the Nuremberg trials are when the Nazis were put on trial, and it's one of the only times in history where instead of the prosecutor having to prove that the defendant was guilty, it was the defendant having to prove they were innocent. Basically what I'm saying is the Nazi had to have literally Jewish people say this person was actually a good person, don't hang them in the town square. And now, again, Germany was a literal superpower, like great technology, um, and that sort of thing. They were super advanced in medical stuff. So what I'm trying to say is basically Jews and Americans were able to befriend some of these Nazis that were very smart individuals, and they lived on and were able to learn what they were able to learn from them. Fast forward to today. So there's like, I'm trying to think of a good example in history besides that. Like when Alexander would go and they would conquer and defeat these militaries, and the men and women of that society that they defeated would be like, okay, these are superior people. We need to learn from them and breed with them and whatever you want to call it, mate, and have offspring. And we need to be. That was a similar way. It was like, Nazi Germany was trying to do his thing. It got fucked up by some other places, and realized like, okay, we need to like be cool and like interbreed and pass on the knowledge that we had and what was going on and yada yada yada. So supposedly Epstein was a Israeli spy or whatever, and they say that, oh my god, this trips me out, that the island formation that he had was the Nickelodeon sign, the little splat. That's trippy to think about. But anyway, people are so crazy about going after these people with the Epstein files that I don't know, I want to bring this all together. So Epstein, Einstein. I'm assuming Epstein is a descendant of Einstein. Now, what did Einstein help create? The nuclear bomb that we ended up using on Japan. I think it was Japan, right? Yeah. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. So Epstein, Einstein, do that with what you will. This is me just trying to connect dots. So Epstein's Island is a bunch of basically American and all over the world diplomats doing horrible things to unspeakable things. But people fail to think about, what if they were forced to do those things at gunpoint? Like whether it was their families or their country or their country being threatened. So if you have, say it's an Israeli intelligence, say it's Epstein, say Epstein was or is Einstein's descendant, that means he has potentially the knowledge of nuclear weapons. So if you were a diplomat, you got invited to this island, said, hey, we're just having a good time and discuss politics and try to make the world a better place. You get there and there's a nuke. They have nukes, and they say they even do a display, like, you see the old nuclear weapons going off in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that literally could have been displays from, like I said, Israel. Or, like I said, just the Jews that said that this Nazi was nice and we need to learn from him. Or like America took in Einstein. We're like, this guy's really smart. Like, yeah, he might have been a part of a group that was doing some messed up stuff, but he's really smart, and we're going to try to like learn from him and contain his evil side. Okay, where was I? So yeah, if you show up a diplomat and you get to this island and there's literally like nukes on this island, and they say, look, either you're going to do this messed up stuff. It's espionage at like the 10th highest level degree of. That's when I start to think about it. You see these nukes. Say this nation has nukes. I guess it's Israel or whatever, or Einstein's descendant, or other people that were around Mr. Einstein when he was working inventing the nuclear weapon. If you went to this island and they're like, look, either you do this messed up stuff, or we're like, we know your hometown, we're going to destroy it with this nuke. You're going to do like I mean, it's crazy to say, but you might end up doing some messed up stuff, right? And none of them say that. I mean, Bill Clinton kind of did a thing when they asked him about Epstein's Island. He did this. Look up when they asked Bill Clinton about hanging out with Epstein. He was like he had to stop there, and he's like, I just got into the hot tub, and like they were told, I think they were told they had to lie about it too. Like they couldn't, they won't come clean in public that they were potentially put at gunpoint to do those horrible things. So I'm just trying to give you another side. Is that the case? And here, let me bring it back to prove it to you more. So if Epstein and his wife were Israeli espionage, covert ops type people, and they were basically blackmailing is not even the word, coercion under the threat of violence, to do horrible things so that they had to bend to the will of what Epstein and his group of people wanted them to do. How that makes sense is think about, so all our tax money and everything that gets taxed, your home, your property, your sales tax on every single thing, everything that gets taxed, your insurance money, where does it, we don't get free health insurance, where does all that money end up going that we've been learning about recently? To Israel. Goes to Israel, doesn't it? So it's almost like if you were an Israeli espionage agent and you had access to nukes because one of your descendants was Einstein and your last name just happened to be Epstein, how, and you could coerce under the threat of violence an entire society to basically funnel money to your world, your country, for the end of time. What do you end up? You end up with a society with free healthcare, free housing, free college, all these different things, right? Right. So those are like where my thoughts are at on like, I can't be, trying to think of the last time you could be proud to American. I thought it was pretty funny. I wouldn't say funny, it's still fucked up. But it was like supposedly Asia was doing like they were overly crowded. So they were doing like only a one child rule, that sort of thing, or one male or one female, whatever it was. And so basically they were killing children. And then America went over there, nuked the places, and they were like, think about all the toys that were made after that. What they all say, made in Japan, made in Taiwan, made in Asia. So they were like, at first you were killing children. Guess what we're going to make you do for a really long time? We're going to make you make toys for children. That's kind of some gangster. It's fucked up. It's fucked up that they took lives and they forced a lot of, indentured servitude, like very cheap labor. But it in a slick kind of fucking savagery, like what I think's sometimes funny. It's not. It's a fucked up humor. It's not. I don't want to think it's funny, but here I am. I'm just living here. It's y'all's world. I'm just living in it. That was, I think, the last time America was gangster. They were like, Asia, you want to kill children? Well, we're gonna fuck you up, and we're gonna make you make toys for children for a very long fucking time. It's kind of fucking funny. But those same Americans that were willing to do something that fucked up in the name of humor, they got out fucked up in the head by Israeli espionage, who was like, oh, you thought that was funny? Nuking the Asians and making them make toys for children. Well, now you're going to have to do some fucked up shit to children. And it was like the retaliation of that. It was like, you tried to defend children for Asia killing their children, made them make toys. So now we're going to make you do fucked up shit to children, or we're going to nuke your home. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like, I'm trying to connect the dots. That's kind of what I feel like happened. Fast forward to today, we have these weird, I guess they're called Zionists, where they try to, like, they're actually listening to the words of a madman, a dude who was going insane on an island by himself, wishing death upon the entire world because he got outsmarted by the Roman Empire. Like I said, again, there's a lot of good lessons in the Bible, but just to cliff note it and fast forward to you, you basically need the 10 Commandments and the golden rule, which was first said by, I believe, John the Baptist: treat others the way you want to be treated. Jesus said that too. If you have those two things, literally the whole Bible, the 10 Commandments, treat others the way you want to be treated, you have a pretty much in harmony, beautiful society. You just need, I saved you reading about a jillion other pages that are just filled with sin and hectic bullshit, okay? And people losing their minds and whatever. So I don't understand the pride in our current American leadership. Because this isn't a nation. It's like I said earlier, it's a third world country. Just, it's a piece of shit third world country that's got some glitter, fucking thrown on it. With the running, the homes and the infrastructure and the restaurants and the shiny lights and the clubs and all this bullshit. So, if you can help me understand that more, give me your thoughts. If anything makes sense what I'm saying, I feel like it makes sense. So moving on to trying to understand women. So again, to summarize, that was me trying to understand America, how you could be proud of this nation, that its current state. Like I've said, it seems like the current, basically, supposedly were ran by Israel because their espionage on our politicians funnels money back to them. They created Israel was basically like, we're going to create a system in America that's going to funnel a bunch of money to us and not their citizens. And they're going to live in a third world country, but it's going to look fancy. And and like I said, their religion is their money. So I've said the easiest way to solve this problem is to make them show their hand, which is if all the people in the United States stop. Now, when I don't say taxes are a good thing, but file exempt. And when the IRS is like, hey, you need to pay taxes, go to a teacher a public school, go to a teacher that your kid is potentially in school in, and write them a fucking check. And then have it written off, have a record for it, and then ta-da, guess what, IRS, I paid my taxes, but it went to someone that I wanted to go to. Or go to a road construction crew, be like, write that fucking company a check that does roads in your local area. Guess what, IRS, I paid my taxes. It's important that taxes make sense in theory, just when it's not, you're just blindly paying and then they're using it for fucked up shit like taking care of another country and not ours. So I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. I'm saying don't just give your money away. Make sure your money goes to where you want it to go. Okay? And other taxes we can't avoid. They're unavoidable, sales tax. But where you could kill the money is like if everyone stopped paying their mortgage, because most homes and places, like for instance, every rental property, the building costs $20,000 to put up, yet over the lifespan of the building, even though it's depreciating value every year, it's getting more banged up and beat up and more wear and tear on the parts of it. Somehow you're talking about a rental property. It took $20,000, or a hotel maybe it's literally $50,000, $100,000 on like a really nice place to build, but yet somehow it's going to make potentially billions of dollars over the lifespan of the building. That math doesn't math. So long story short, if you wanted to, their religion is their money. So if you were to, stop paying your mortgages, if everyone stopped paying their mortgages, their electric bills, their water bills, if it came to the point where they were trying to kick everybody out, turn everyone's water off, turn everyone's electric off, then yeah, we've got a problem. They're showing their hand. They're showing that they're evil. They're showing that they only want to force us they're treating us as a third world country, making us have to work really hard to get things that aren't necessarily that difficult to accomplish, especially in today's world, whether that's running water, electricity. I've seen a video where a guy used a tree to create enough electricity to at least light up a couple of light bulbs. I get that there's some refining, there's some hard work that goes into refining of copper and silver and these metals that are conductive electricity, and the refining of acidic materials that like are in batteries and that sort. I get that there's some, but once the refining's done, it's not that complicated of a process to refine these things. It's like the value of, that's why they got rid of the penny, because it was a waste of copper. I've been saying that for a long time. I don't know if that's why I'm pretty sure they stopped making the silver dollar, because it's like, no, silver is a lot more valuable than a dollar. Like that amount of silver would give you a decent amount of silver, is like the most conductive metal, if I'm not mistaken, in the world. There might be some new metals that they've created that are more conductive, but like at its rawest, like just in the ground, silver is pretty fucking conductive. Like coming out of the ground. So yeah, we have to make her show our hand, and that would be that make them show their hand. That would be how I would think America, the third world country that it is, the nation founded by the English rejects, the thieves in the night, that are basically controlled by espionage. This whole society is controlled by espionage. That would be, stop paying mortgages, rents, water, and electric, and make them show their hand. If all of a sudden one day we wake up and the grid's off, then yeah, it's insurance, all those things. Stop paying insurance, because it's like, what do you mean? A country that we're supposedly cool with, Israel, has all those things: free healthcare, free education, free, water, shorter work weeks, all these different things that would be what we should have here if we weren't basically a third world country. So yeah, the follow up is if they started trying to seize people's homes and turn off people's waters and electric, then yeah, I mean, you'd have to just storm the electric company, flip the switch back on, be like, fuck you. Storm the water plants, go back in there, turn the water back on, fuck you. Like, it's go to these realty companies, drag them out, slap them around a little bit, and say, hey, get to work like the rest of us, and build a society that's, like I said, I always said it'd be awesome if everyone basically's job was to be a small-time farmer and build homes that were literally ran themselves. Like when I say small-time farmer, people are like, oh my God, I don't want to do a lot of farming. Motherfucker, we can build homes and machines that are self-running, basically hydroponic gardens that do almost all the goddamn work for you. Like you could literally be out chilling like 90% of the year. Just occasionally you'd have to go back to your home and fucking gather the fruits of the home, or the vegetables or the eggs or whatever the fuck from your chicken coop, your goat milk, whatever the fuck you want, whatever the fuck it is, and bring them to the community area. I call it the superstore. Shout out Call of Duty. Yeah, that kind of sums that up. The where my head's at with America and society and the world right now. So let me know what you think. Like I said, just like the title of the video, I'm stupid. You're hilariously smart. Please teach me about the world and women. Now going on to women. Women, you poor things. I feel so, oh my God. So that was talking about the world gets me excited, because I'm trying to connect dots and, figure out where all the different layers of evil that is the cake that is this planet. It's just like evil stacked on top of evil with some good. There's good in there. I just want the good to, like, take over the evil. But damn it, women. I feel so incredibly sorry for you. It's like you are, I call it the Mike Tyson syndrome. I love you, Mike Tyson. You're the fucking man. But I can't think of a better example than that. So imagine you're a girl and your mom or dad or whatever, grandma, whoever it is that's teaching you, says to you, guess what? Your life is going to be kind of miserable, and because of menstrual cycles, and you're going to bleed out, and you could potentially die giving birth, and it's gonna fuck up your back and your hips, and it's gonna mess with your life. So you're gonna have a kind of a miserable life, and you're gonna have to like totally change your appearance to be attractive to um the opposite sex. So your life's gonna be miserable, and you're gonna have to disguise your ugliness. Bro, that is, could you imagine being a young girl and that's one of the first things you hear? Like, oh my God, my life's gonna be kind of miserable and painful, and I'm gonna have to disguise my ugliness. Bro, bringing it back to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was like a kid that robbed and had some dark thoughts, and basically Customato taught him, like, dude, your life's gonna be painful. You're gonna be a boxer. You're gonna get hit, and you're gonna have to do these things, and you're gonna have to disguise your dark side. Like, Mike Tyson's one of the most beautiful men to talk to these days because he's been through much. He has more life experience than probably 99% of the human beings alive. But he still has that fucking dark side that's a conqueror. That like, he even says it, like he misses that person that was just, how I call it, living in the darkness. I get it. What lives in the darkness? The beasts of this world, the tigers, the lions, the tigers, the bears. You have to go into a mental state of, I want to make the beast, I want to be the king of the darkness. I want to be the thing that the beasts are scared of. Like, I mean, that's kind of hard to do against tigers because they have night vision, and we don't. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's more of a mindset to where you want to be, like I said, I would said if, Mike Tyson I feel like his mindset is like in the mindset of a fucking beast, like Sensei Savagery, is you have to go into the darkness where the beasts live and say, beast, you need to be scared of me in this darkness, right? So going back to connecting the women and Mike Tyson. So what are women and what did Mike Tyson get? Going to your life's going to be filled with pain. Well, he did his best. What did he love more than anything? Inflicting pain on others, because he knew they were trying to inflict pain on him. So women are attracted to things that inflict pain on other people. Like the women are attracted to the football players that are all on PEDs. Well, they're attracted to what they are, which is something that's in pain and something that's trying to disguise the ugliness. Like all this fucking going to bars and not that that's it's not a great thing. Bars are stupid. It's just people poisoning themselves, but they're into like disguising the ugliness. Like, because that's what they're first taught. And the reason I say this is so much like Mike Tyson is like if you tried to tell, so when you try to show them a woman a different way, like, hey, you don't have to be miserable, you don't have to disguise your ugliness. That's like trying to tell Mike Tyson, hey, there's a better way to box. Mike Tyson is gonna be like, motherfucker, I was the heavyweight champion of the world and was beating people, and got to the point I was so good I was beating people barely having to train. Now he did eventually get beat. So as good as Mike Tyson was, there was a better way to box. There was a better way to, but again, like I say, he wasn't training. That's but that's how women are, because they're taught. And like I said, Tyson was taught at such a young age. Because women are taught at such a young age that your life's going to be miserable and you're going to have to disguise your ugliness. They take that out on the world. They try to make other people miserable, and they tell other people they need to disguise their ugliness. They invent ugliness. Like, that's just, all this hatred for men, even though most men are just trying to live and work and be decent individuals. Yo. So when you try to tell a woman, like, hey, so it's when you try to tell a woman there's a different way, it's like trying to tell Mike Tyson in his prime, hey, there's a better way to box. He's gonna be like, his brain's not gonna know what to do with that information. He's like, what do you mean there's a better way to box? I'm the heavyweight champion of the world at 21. It's like telling a woman, like, she's like, I can just pretend I'm not in miserable pain, that I don't have to disguise my. So men get their dopamine hits from doing hard work, from accomplishing difficult things, whether it's playing a sport or playing video games or building a home or, solving problems at work. That's how we get our dopamine hits. Women get their dopamine hits by convincing other people they're not miserable and disguising their ugliness enough that they get compliments. That's how women get their dopamine hits. Like that's all you have to do for a woman to feel good, is basically she's just trying to get laid, and not get laid and convince you that she's not, miserable most of the time, or at least a week of the time, and miserable with having to keep up with the day-to-day of disguising her ugly. And I don't think women are ugly. Like, I have to clean myself up to look good, so fuck you, women. I have to do this. Men, we have to do this shit too. But I think the reason it's so difficult to get women to admit to that they're attracted to making other people miserable like they are, and trying to force other people into admitting their ugliness and that they have to disguise it. It's because someone they were supposed to be able to trust the most, their first parent that taught them, that was taught, that taught them. It's similar to Mike. It was like, that was the first person he trusted was Cuss, someone that believed in him. Because that's the women, the mothers will tell their daughters, you're gonna have, I keep saying it, it's gonna be stressful, you're gonna be in pain a lot of your life, and you're gonna have to disguise your ugliness, but I believe in you. I believe you can do it. That's how Customato was. He's like, look, you're gonna go through a lot of pain in life, and you're gonna have to disguise your dark side, but I believe in you. So it's like negative reinforcement. I don't know if y'all know what that is, like, and so like, instead of positive reinforcement, like someone failing at something, and instead of being like, hey, you suck, to like somehow in their own head, just negative reinforcement doesn't make sense. It's like, if someone like fails at something, you should pick them back up and be like, look, I saw you can do better. Like, I believe in you. I know you can do better. That's positive reinforcement. Negative reinforcement would just be like, if someone fails at something, you were like, hey, you suck. You're one of the worst people I've ever seen try to do that thing. And then if the person's strong-willed enough, they will continue to try to do it, but then you're not helping them improve. You're just being a cunt. And the person just is showing that they're a better person than you by having the resolve to continue to try. You didn't actually teach them anything. You just showed them that, hey, some people are fucking cunts and say fucked up shit. So when you try to tell a woman to acknowledge just what her humanity is, and be like, look, baby, I'm going to try to stop you from being in pain. I'm going to try to, love every part of you, even the parts of you that you think are ugly, and be there for her in every way. Like I said, you're like, they like I'm doing right now. They like, how do I want to say? They like malfunction. They're like, no, that is what I am. Someone that's in misery. Let me be in my misery. Or I have to disguise my ugly. Like, let me disguise my ugly. Don't. Fuck, it's such a weird because their first mentor, someone they trusted the most, taught them that. Just like if you tried to tell Mike Tyson, hey, there's a better way to box, he's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, just let me fucking do me. And it's like, well, doing you ended up getting you beat one day and led you down some pretty dark paths. Just like with women. A lot of women do literally get beat and end up down some very dark paths. It's the same fucking Mike Tyson syndrome, I call it. But, and it's like it could all be avoided. It could all be avoided by just living, like I said, by basically the 10 Commandments and treating others the way you want to be treated. It's like women, the society. Oh my goodness. I feel so sorry for you babies. Oh my God. I can't, it's the dip. It's hard. It's difficult to just keep talking. So I'm trying to understand the world in America. I'm trying to understand women. Because like I said, it's women, there's just so much degeneracy. Because they want to make other women miserable. They want to make other men miserable. And they want to disguise their ugliness. So like you see like these porn stars or whatever. They're trying to make other people miserable by like, look, I'm getting fucked all the time, getting all this money. Like, you can't do that because you're not disguising your ugly as good as I am by, working out and laser hair removal and makeup and all these different, fake hair. Dude, the fake hair in America fucks me up so bad, dude. Like, what the fuck? You mean that our women are actual like clowns? That wear wigs and extensions and color their hair different colors and wear like horse hair and animal hair and other women's hair. Bro, that is some psychotic, weird fucking shit. Just be you, baby. Be you, okay? So, with that being said, I'm trying to think if I summed it up. Like I said, I love all humans. I mean, humanity is so cool. It's just, like I said, it's just been historically evil on top of evil on top of evil. A little layer of good, but that layer of good is like the Bavarian cream in a donut. Like, it's like, it's in there, but it's surrounded by evil. There's good in there somewhere, but it's surrounded by evil. And as far as getting through to women, because like I said, I gave the way to get through to these people who wanted freedom of religion, aka they wanted freedom from being good people. And this espionage that has destroyed our nation, basically making us a money funneling scheme to a different part of the world, is, their religion is their money. So you'd have to stop the insurance, if the part of our world is that our money is funneling to is getting free healthcare, we should get free healthcare. So that would be stop paying your medical insurance, stop paying your car insurance, stop paying your housing, your rent, your electric, and your water. Those things to get the leaders, quote unquote leaders of our nation, to show their hand. Are they really, really willing to? I mean, they're already treating us like a third world country, but are they really willing to treat us like a third world country where it's like if you think about like old, like, what's the Black Hawk Down, where it was like that scene where they bring rice to a nation, or they bring rice to a village, and the village is like, oh my God, thank God, rice. So they all come and they end up just shooting all their people. It's like, is that what they're willing to do? Like, if they shut off everyone's electric and we go and storm the electric grid just to turn the switch back on, are they going to start fucking shooting us? If they do that, bro, yeah, that's that would be cause for what the Constitution, or whatever it was, Declaration of Independence, whichever one it was, that, that the British, the English rejects, the Americans, the fact that they wrote that up, I think it's because there were so many young minds. Like, I think that the older minds, like the Ben Franklins, the Washington, the older guys of the group, Andrew Jacksons, were like kind of fucked up in the head, but they were like, let's let these kids, these younger men, like, even though Franklin and Jackson, all them, they were still in their early 30s. So they had like there was a lot of younger men with ideas of a better world because they were the rejects. They were under English. You know, they weren't getting no pootie tang, and so they had to be some thieves in the night and do some fucked up shit. But I think they, just like us Americans, might have to do some fucked up shit to get out from under an evil rule. So they had good thoughts, like to being able to, if your government is tyrannical, you have to be able to overthrow it. They wanted to instill that in their people. Do with that what you will, leave in the comments. But I'm trying to think to how to break through to women. Is it just having that talk with them? Like, look, I get you're miserable a week out of the month, and I want to do everything in my power to help that. And I hate that, you feel like you have to disguise your ugly, and I want to try to work with you on how to, you don't have to do so much work to disguise yourself. And that goes to, like I said, but it's like so hard to break from that cycle because of the Mike Tyson syndrome. That's what they were taught that they have to do, and that's what they're attracted to. Other things that bring misery in disguise, like all these different, like the music they listen to, it's all disguising ugliness. Like, it's, the lyrics are just like the ugliest shit you can talk about, the half the music they listen to, but it's got a fun beat. It's got it's catchy beat. Oh, it's got pretty music, even though they're talking about shooting and killing and cheating on whoever and being a whore, and it doesn't matter. It's disguising the ugly, just like I do all the time when I, pour all this makeup on my face or color my hair a different color, or yada yada yada, laser hair removal. Bro. So how do I want to finish this? Yeah, help me out. Help me understand. And the funniest part? So I'm titling this video, "I'm so stupid, please help me. You're hilariously smart. I'm trying to understand the world in America." I just broke the fourth wall, because guess what? What I'm saying is what you're probably thinking in your own fucking head. I'm breaking that fourth wall. I'm in your fucking head. I got in your head and you didn't even realize it. Because what I'm really, really saying from the title of this video is quoting what's probably going on in your head right now. You're thinking, "I'm so fucking stupid. You're so hilariously smart. Can you please teach me about the world and women?" Yeah.